Happy Saturday, Risers. We hope you are having a phenomenal weekend. Saga and I are back with some of our favorite moments from the week.
That's right. We talked to Professor of Economics, Stephanie Kelton, who debunked some common rebuttals from the GOP caucus on stimulus spending, who say that increased spending actually hurts private markets.
Well, this idea that spending is somehow holding the economy back really flips all of economic logic on its head, because our economy really is dependent on spending. And if you ask any business, what do you most need right now? They would tell you, I need customers, I need spending. The problem, of course, is that we are in the midst of a global pandemic and people aren't able to go out and spend the way that they normally could. So when consumer spending is constrained, and right now it's constrained largely by the virus and the fact that many people can't go back to work. Not only shouldn't they, but they can't go back to work. So we really have essentially one player left in the game who can provide the support that the economy needs, the spending that the economy needs, and that is the federal government. And yes, you're starting to hear people like Lindsey Graham, you mentioned, say half of Republicans won't vote for it, starting to hear some grumbling about adding to the deficit and so forth. But the reality is, if someone doesn't do the spending, the economy will deteriorate further.
Wow, imagine that. I mean, it's just such a basic understanding of the economy.
I feel like you found that segment particularly
it was very edifying.
Enjoyable.
I sent it to a lot of people. I sent it to people. I was like, listen to this, you idiot.
She explains it. I mean, she does such a great job breaking it down. And we went through a few of the common myths. And none of this really probably is news to people. It's so obvious. Government's the only game left in town.
You do not need a degree in economics to understand money in, money out. It's just the most basic thing on earth. And yet, there's an entire ideology that tells you otherwise. So,
indeed. Meanwhile, Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal questioned Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, his company's use of third-party seller data to try to create their own brands. Bezos said he can't guarantee that the company has not done that sometimes. Research director at the American Liberties Project, Matt Stoller, weighed in on Bezos' response.
Yeah, I mean, that was really significant because, and Bezos was consistent generally with this, is he's not really in control of Amazon. I mean, that was what was shocking about that answer, where, I mean, the basic question was, there are hundreds of thousands of merchants who sell on Amazon. There are a lot of companies that sell their products on Amazon. And Amazon uses the information it gets by overseeing those sales to create competitive products. It's a sort of a form of stealing. And Amazon earlier denied it to Congress. And then the Wall Street Journal came out with a report showing, actually, Amazon does this. Jeff Bezos just comes out and says, well, we have a policy against doing this, but I don't know if anybody at Amazon follows it. And that's amazing, because what it indicates is that no one's really in charge of Amazon. And you see this kind of across the board, where these guys kind of seem like they're titans of industry, but in fact, all they really pay attention to is making sure that the toll booth that they control is in working order. But the rest of it, they don't care.
Such a good point there from Matt. I mean, I think that was like the best day of his life.
I was going to say, I've never seen Stoller so happy and excited.
I know, he's actually a big grumpy guy. No, it's a really important point that he's making there, and I was shocked by it. He's like, I can't care. It's such a way of pointing. It's like, well, we have a policy against it. Whether anyone follows it, I don't know.
Who knows?
And you're like,
hard to say.
You run a $1 trillion company. Like, you better know. And if somebody's not doing it, you should probably, do something to stop it, because, the Department of Justice might actually have some questions for you.
Yeah, we may have quashed a few small businesses and stolen their intellectual property here or there. I can't guarantee we haven't.
It happens.
Oops. Yeah. Happens. I mean, I will say Stoller, I think, is probably more optimistic about the outcomes of these hearings than I was. To me, watching them, they were a bit of a mixed bag in terms of the seriousness of the presentation from the members of Congress. And then ultimately, you need regulators who are going to act on it. The Trump administration hasn't done anything. Do I have high hopes the Biden administration is going to do anything much? Not really so much.
I have zero hopes of that one. All right. Author of anti-monopoly novel book, Break 'em Up, Recovering Our Freedom from Big Ad, Big Tech, Big Money, Zephyr Teachout. She continued the conversation. She actually has some ideas about how the Biden administration could seize this moment right now to change antitrust laws. Let's take a listen.
Oh, the presidency is so important here. And there's a huge question mark around Biden's anti-monopoly policy. We just haven't seen a lot of talk about it. And there's, I think, a huge opportunity. And by the way, this is an area where people come together from all different backgrounds. There's growing anger at these corporate monopolies. So I really hope he seizes this moment. We should be looking for who he appoints in key positions at the Department of Justice and the FTC. insistence on rewriting the antitrust guidelines so that we don't basically continue to allow these mega mergers and instead focus on real investigation into anti-competitive behavior. But if we're talking about Congress and the Senate, there's a lot they can also do. I think we need to do like several different steps. One is have Congress act to overturn all these terrible Supreme Court cases from the 80s on. In other areas, when the Supreme Court gets something wrong, like, say, Lilly Ledbetter, Congress says, okay, we're going to fix that. In fact, President Obama's first bill signing was overturning a bad Supreme Court decision. Congress can act right now to start overturning those bad laws.
Really important point from Zephyr. She's so great on these, issues. I really actually can't wait to read her book, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that does it for us. We will be back later today with the week that was the media screw-ups.
All right, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos, and do not forget to like and share as well. Tomorrow, going to be back for another round of #RisingQs, and we'll see you all then.